I'd like to discuss proper decorum in my courtroom. If you don't like my ruling, you don't give me the side eye, you don't roll your eyes. Do you understand? Are you staring me down right now? Clear the courtroom. That's what went down at Donald Trump's criminal trial today, as Donald Trump put on one of his only witnesses, Robert Costello. And Justice Merchan was not too pleased. And from what I hear as well, the jury is not too pleased at the antics of Robert Costello, this MAGA lawyer who purports to have represented Michael Cohen during the relevant time period. We heard that there were jurors kind of shaking their heads at the answers that were being given by Robert Costello. Again, the courtroom had to be cleared. We also heard that Donald Trump's lawyers did not want Robert Costello to even be called, but Trump insisted that he be called, and it seemed to have backfired massively. We'll talk about that on this episode. Michael Cohen earlier in the day finished up cross-examination. It went good. Did the defense get a point here or there? Sure, but it absolutely went fine. The prosecution was able to use that brief break that Donald Trump tried to conjure up by claiming he wanted to go to Barron's graduation, and the prosecution was actually able to find a photograph from that very specific day on October of 2016. You see right there, that is Keith Schillinger from October 24th, 2016. Keith Schiller, sorry, Keith Schillinger. Keith Schiller from October 24th, 2016. That's Trump's bodyguard. And there was the conversation between Cohen and Schiller on that day. And there's a photograph there as the defense tried to cast doubt on whether or not Trump was there when the conversation took place. So I think that was an important moment as well. And I think we're heading pretty much to I don't think Donald Trump's going to be called. I could actually pretty much guarantee you Trump's not going to be called as a witness. Trump's been completely melting down. Like, it honestly looked like he was about to cry at the end of trial. We'll show you some clips, and I'm not like exaggerating, like, oh, he was going to cry. He actually looks like he's about to cry, and he's saying, like, something has to happen. Something has to happen. Did you see what happened today? Prosecute the prosecutors. We need something to happen. And, it's just so funny, too, because you have Trump's legal spokesperson, or whatever she's called these days, Alina Habba, still out there. Donald Trump wants to testify. Donald Trump wants to take the stand. But, folks, by tomorrow, I think that this trial is going to be wrapped up. I think we're going to be done, and I think we're heading for summations. And before no time, this is going to be with the jury. Wow, we got a lot more to discuss as well. Donald Trump going to an event, bunch of unhinged things he said there. Donald Trump going to Minnesota, a bunch of unhinged things there. You saw I briefly called Schillinger. That's what happens when I've been gone for 2 days, but for great reason. This weekend I got married, and to Sochi Marin. Now Sochi Marin Mycelis. There's the photo right there from the event. It was a great event. I want to thank all of the great photo right there as well.
That's great.
I want to thank by the way, in that photo, for everybody who's saying who's Salty, that's Salty all the way on the left. You've got Salty. You got Brett, you got me with Taquito and Chaquito, you got Michael Popak, you got Jordy, and you've got Jeremy right there. Just some of the people who work. A bunch of other people work at the network as well. But there we go. So an incredible weekend, and thank you to all the Meidas Mighty for all of your wishes. It means the world to me. Thank you so much. It was a beautiful wedding, and right now we're doing a little bit of a mini moon right now, and then we'll do a longer honeymoon soon. But that's what's going on.
Aww.
Well, Ben, we had the greatest weekend ever. It was really just truly a magical night. It was so great to celebrate you and Sochi. Jordy and I gave a speech. Maybe at some point we will preview that speech, or rather show that speech to the Meidas Mighty, maybe on Patreon at some point. We'll see. We'll see how the footage comes in. But it was really great. Just so much fun too. Like a beautiful event, an emotional event. And I saw some tears from you up there, Ben, while you were giving your IDs. I'm not. The Meidas Mighty has to know about
when you're on the hot seat like that, B. You know, I mean, when you're on the when it's you in the position, all the emotions get the best of you.
They got to know about your sensitive side, Ben. They got to know about the sensitive side, but also just such an incredible party. So much love, so much celebration. And I love what you said, Ben, when you were speaking to the crowd at the wedding yesterday. And I think it's an important message, basically, that Saturday, rather. Sometimes that you need to just kind of sit down and pause and take into account all of the good things around us when things can seem so dark out there. Take account of family, of love, of everything that you have to celebrate out there. I think that's always a good message, especially in this chaotic world. And it was really, truly the greatest time ever. We had such a blast, such incredible photos coming from this event. Just such a crowd. Sochi looked stunning. You looked great. The doggies with their little tuxedos were absolutely hilarious. And this is a photo that we posted on our YouTube community page. And I think it has closer to 90,000 likes right now, but it had 72,000 likes. Then your wedding and your birthday, by the way, happy birthday yesterday, were trending topics on Twitter. Not too bad. And the funny thing about somebody made a comment about this photo. Someone was like, it looks like the dogs are getting married to each other in this photo. Because they're both wearing little tuxedos, and looks like Ben's officiating, which I thought was pretty funny. But Jordy, it was great seeing you. Also, you had quite the trip back, but it was a blast.
Quite the trip, an absolute blast, Ben. It was such a beautiful day. You were amazing, Sochi, amazing, stunning. I'm so happy for you, big bro. Congrats again. Super excited, and again, can't leave it out. It was also your birthday, so what a play there. Going wedding into birthday into MeidasTouch Podcast. What are we doing, B? What's up for today?
Ben never has an excuse ever to forget his anniversary date because I think that may have been by design by Sochi in picking this wedding date. You can't forget it if it's the day before his birthday, right? I mean, so smart thinking ahead.
Well, I might forget Schiller's name and call him Schellinger for a brief moment in the introduction, but I will not ever forget that incredible day. Nor will I ever forget the love that all the Meidas Mighty showed. I just want to thank you all again so much. And look, we have been keeping up, though, on all of the developments in Donald Trump's criminal trial, as we are now in day 19. The prosecution officially rested their case after some additional cross-examination of Michael Cohen, and then some brief redirect just to clean up a few things. When I watch the corporate media discuss trials, I just think perhaps the hosts of these shows should either be trial lawyers, or they should have a trial lawyer with them or by their side to help guide their coverage, because the things that are relatively not major developments in case, where, or things that are actually not helpful to the defense, just because it looks dramatic. And the corporate media is always looking for the drama. They think a Perry Mason moment is when Trump's lawyer just starts randomly and chaotically yelling at Michael Cohen, "You lie, you lie." Meanwhile, the objections to that line of questioning from Friday were getting sustained, meaning that the question and the answers were being stricken because they were not actual questions when you yell at a witness. I just had to go back and read the transcript of these things and say to myself, where was this moment that the media was talking about that was so dramatic that they said was this major moment for the defense, that Michael Cohen may have had a conversation that involved two topics? And when the whole defense is trying to act like this event never took place, but then Donald Trump paid Michael Cohen $420,000, Cohen got paid. We know how the story ends. So ultimately, what Cohen said that led to it if what Cohen said didn't lead to it, then you would just have to believe that randomly, out of nowhere, Donald Trump was presented with checks to pay off a porn star that he never had any relations with. And he was just like, sure, let's do it. Let me do this. Like, that makes zero sense at all. And then, of course, the prosecution comes prepared on redirect. You have to let a trial develop and play out and have narratives and have themes. The prosecution's theme is, here are the facts. Let's tell, this is what people inside the Trump organization are saying. Here's what people outside the Trump organization are saying. Here's what Donald Trump's controller is saying. Here's what Donald Trump's account payable person saying. Here's what the Donald Trump's friend from the National Enquirer was saying. Donald Trump's doesn't have a theme in his defense. It just, none of this ever happened. Don't believe any of this. The checks aren't real. The phone calls aren't real. None of this happened. Everybody's trying to basically set Donald Trump up, and that makes absolutely zero sense. So on redirect today, or rather on the finale of the cross-examination, it was as if Todd Blanche was doing the work of what you would normally see the prosecution do. So Todd Blanche says to Cohen, and your testimony remains as you gave last Tuesday. You remember having a conversation with candidate Donald Trump about Stormy Daniels. Cohen, yes. Todd Blanche, Trump's lawyer. No doubt in your mind. Cohen, yes. Todd Blanche, I have no further questions. Why would you leave it on that?
That's like the prosecution rests. Thank you, Your Honor.
Why would you? And then he dragged out this cross for like 4 days. And everybody was describing how the jury was just getting like bored today. And this was just dragging on. And the juries, they were having trouble staying awake during the cross-examination. It's never a good sign of a cross-examination when you have the jury falling asleep of one of the prosecution's main witnesses. So then when Cohen went back for redirect examination, what did the prosecution have? They had the photo of Schiller, Trump's bodyguard, and Donald Trump from October 24, 2016. Just as Cohen said happened on that day, that they were there right next to each other. So while Donald Trump was at this event, obviously within a minute, 30 seconds, you're not going to have very long conversations with Donald Trump. Heck, he can't even stay awake for his own criminal trial. So why is it inconceivable that there was a conversation that involves multiple topics? But then what the district attorney's office also explained was, you had multiple conversations. It wasn't just one phone call, multiple conversations, multiple in-person meetings, multiple interactions where this was discussed with multiple people. It never was this one magical phone call and it all. And Cohen says, yeah, we've had multiple conversations. So Cohen finished, prosecution rests. Then you have the defense call. I kid you not, the paralegal from Todd Blanche's office. Why would you call your own paralegal? Like, if you want to highlight the fact that you have no witnesses to call your own paralegal, because then that will, after the jury heard all of these substantive witnesses, right, from the Keith Davidsons to the David Peckers, to Stormy, to Cohen, to all these people talking about Hope Hicks, defense, I'm going to call my own paralegal to the stand. So they call the paralegal to go over like phone records or phone logs, which didn't prove anything. And it was just a complete waste of time. Maybe that was their point, to buy time to determine if they were going to call Robert Costello. Then they call Robert Costello, this MAGA lawyer who's made his entire MAGA reputation trying to trash Michael Cohen, who like went to try to get Michael Cohen's business. And then on the stand, he claimed today on cross-examination that he didn't really want Cohen as a client. But then the prosecution was ready with all of these emails showing like Costello's family saying, baby, you'll be a famous lawyer now, Dad, that you've got Michael Cohen as a client. So they started showing him all of these things. And then on the direct examination, the prosecution, on direct examination, the defense was asking him all of these questions that were outside the scope of this trial. And so all of the objections were getting sustained. And then Costello on the stand, like within the first 5 minutes of the direct examination by Trump's own lawyer, he started like looking at the judge and saying things like, geez, and like, and like laughing at the judge. And then he started like looking at the judge like, seriously, Jesus. And so the judge looked at him and said, excuse me? Like, what did you say? And then the guy, what's his name? Then Costello starts staring down Justice Merchan and like make eye contact. Justice Merchan's like, are you staring me down? Clear the courtroom. So he clears out the jury. He clears out all the reporters. Everyone leaves. And because Costello could be like a security risk, they locked it down because of the behavior of a witness, like trying to physically intimidate the judge. That's why they removed the press from it, because it was viewed as a security issue. So then the judge, we don't know what happened in there, but like would have yelled at Costello and dressed Costello down. Then when, Costello took the stand again, and then there was the cross-examination by the prosecution, he was like saying like, ma'am, to the prosecutor, speak up, ma'am, and things like that. And I heard the jury was like rolling their eyes, and that's where we left it today. So that's the update of today. But this is why, Brett and Jordy, we need to have a holistic view of trial. Like the media wants to take this one moment and then act like, oh my gosh, let's extrapolate all this from that. No, let's wait until redirect. And it also seems that Donald Trump's barren graduation thing seemed to backfire because it gave the prosecution time to prepare. So that's where we're at today.
Yeah, today was a total disaster for the defense, just from start to finish. And from what we're hearing from other reporting is that Donald Trump is the one who insisted that Costello get up on the witness stand. He pushed it through in spite of his lawyer's objections to it. Donald Trump is always his own worst enemy of these things, and Donald Trump wanted somewhere to go up there and attack Michael Cohen. But the judge wasn't going to let this sideshow occur, not in his courtroom. So anytime that Costello tried to veer off course, Merchan shut him down. Justice Merchan also limited the testimony as to what Costello was able to testify about, as to not speculate about unrelated issues to the case. And when I saw Costello, when I was reading about Costello up on the stand, the one thing that basically occurred to me is that this is not a guy who is really there to be a fact witness for this case. This is a guy who is auditioning for a role in a future Trump administration. He was purely playing for an audience of one. And, I don't know if he achieved what he wanted to do at the end of the day. Of course, Donald Trump addressed it immediately after. We'll get to that soon, which, by the way, should be a violation of the gag order for Donald Trump to be speaking about Costello as a witness as well. But it was a complete disaster. You had really two main things happen today that were absolutely devastating for the defense. And that was their big moment, that big gotcha that the media made a huge fuss about last week, fizzled and dissipated on the redirect almost instantaneously as the DA pulled out the receipts. And then you had this disastrous moment from Robert Costello, which also adds so much more credibility, by the way, to Michael Cohen, who has been incredibly credible this whole time, has owned up to his past acts, his bad acts, which I think makes him even more credible, and also shows why Donald Trump used somebody like that back in the day, and shows how this Costello guy was trying to just be on the attack, and it shows the slime that Donald Trump still surrounds himself to this day, and the underhanded tactics that Donald Trump is still using to this day. So overall, just a horrific day for Donald Trump, which is why one of the reasons probably why at the end of trial today, Donald Trump moved to get the whole thing dismissed.
The way, Brett and Ben, the way Costello behaved on the stand today, like just the utter lunacy of the guy's just despicable behavior, that's the way corporate media was talking as if Michael Cohen would act when he would get on the stand. And that's what the corporate media was pushing. Like they almost wanted this Michael Cohen meltdown when he were to take the stand. And they didn't give that to him. And so when Cohen didn't give that to him, they had to sort of invent a big nothing burger that totally blew up in all of their faces today about this Perry Mason gotcha moment. And then Costello gets on and just behaves like a complete and utter maniac. And I've kind of been hearing crickets so far from corporate media about that man's behavior. But hey, what are you going to do?
That you raised such a good point there, Jordy, that the Corporate media made everyone believe that's how Cohen was going to react. Cohen handled himself like any witness should handle themselves, and Costello behaved that way. I want to share with you, I want to share with everybody Donald Trump's reaction after the trial. And again, as I said, it's almost like it looks like he's about to cry. And I'm not just exaggerating. Oh, he's going to cry.
He had a rough day.
I want you to evaluate it for yourself, but I want to take our first quick break of the show. I know from a lot of the emails that you send me that a lot of you watching and listening are entrepreneurs. You run your own business, and I run a business too, the MeidasTouch Network. So I know how hard it is to manage your numbers, manage the trends in the market, and budget everything. Your business gets to a certain size and the cracks start to emerge. Things you used to do in a day are now taking a week. You have too many manual processes and you don't have one source of truth. If this is you need to know these three numbers: 37,000, 25, and 1. Okay, 37,000. That's the number of businesses which have upgraded to NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system, streamlining accounting, financial management, inventory, HR, and more. 25. NetSuite turns 25 this year. That's 25 years of helping businesses do more with less, close their books in days, not weeks, and drive down costs. And 1, because your business is one of a kind. So you get a customized solution for all of your key performance indicators, KPIs, in one efficient system with one source of truth. Manage risks, get reliable forecasts, and improve margins. Everything you need to grow all in one place. The power of having all the information in one place to make better decisions and the unprecedented offer NetSuite is providing has been a game changer for us here at MeidasTouch, and I think it will also be a major game changer for you and your business. Right now, download NetSuite's popular KPI checklist designed to give you consistently excellent performance absolutely free at netsuite.com/Meidas. That's netsuite.com/Meidas, netsuite.com/Meidas to get your own KPI checklist. That's netsuite.com/Meidas. Check it out. Have you heard that the flavored air category is quickly becoming the leading alternative to vaping and smoking? It's a whole new movement towards better habits, led by the sponsor of this video, Fume. Fume is an award-winning flavored air device. Flavored air isn't like vaping. If vapor was compared to sticky soda, Fume cores are closer to herbal teas. Fume has lots of delicious flavors to choose from, like crisp mint and orange vanilla. With flavored air, you can satisfy your oral fixation through a passive diffusion system that utilizes no electronics, vapor, or combustion. Fume draws flavor to your mouth. Fume fills the void ditching a bad habit can leave. You still have something to reach for. Fume is not a vape. There's no vapor and you could use it anywhere. There's no nicotine. It's not addictive. The non-toxic flavors are a guilt-free alternative. Fume doesn't use any batteries, so you'll never need to charge it. The design is super sleek. It looks awesome and you can truly feel the weighted high-quality design. One of the things about Fume is that it's made to fidget with and it calms anxiety with magnets, snaps, and clicks. Fume continuously invests in third-party studies to ensure the safety of their products. Fume is also backed by doctors in the United States. My favorite Fume flavor is crisp mint. It is honestly delicious, and I couldn't recommend this more for anyone trying to quit their bad habit. Fume has served over 300,000 customers, and you can be the next success story. For a limited time, use my code MeidAS, M-E-I-D-A-S, to get a free gift with your journey pack. So head to tryfume.com. That's tryfum.com. Tryfume.com. Use code MeidAS or scan the QR code on screen to get a free gift with your order today.
Let's
Welcome
go.
back.
Shout out to the Pro Democracy
Welcome.
sponsors. Links in the description of both the audio and YouTube. NetSuite, quick tangent here, has let me know that they are just blown away by our audience's response to going to their platform from the show. So let's just keep blowing them away. They legit called me. They're like, our site has seen so much traffic from the Meidas Mighty. They love to see it.
Awesome.
Check it out. That KPI checklist is legit. I think that's why we continue to go there. So definitely check it out. And then Fume. Fume's been with us for a minute now. This thing right here, this is amazing. It'll help you just break that bad habit. Start a good habit, Ben. I love your feed read.
You know why, Jordy? It's because the Meidas Mighty shows up, right? The Meidas Mighty is always there. In fact, I'd be remiss if I did not mention that a member of the Meidas Mighty was there outside of the courthouse today. A journalist sent us this photo earlier, actually. Anarchy Princess, Anarchy Princess on Twitter, who does all the incredible work with following around Peter Navarro with the signs and stuff, sent me this incredible photo of a member of the Meidas Mighty who's holding up a sign that says, "Thank you, Michael Cohen. Thank you to all who work for justice." And you could see on the bottom left, it says Meidas Mighty. And on the bottom right, it says political beatdown. That's a true fan right there. I love when people go down to see it for themselves because, every day Trump goes, "It's like Fort Knox out there. They don't let any of my supporters anywhere nearby. They can't get anywhere close." And it's like, no, you could actually just walk right up to it. Like it's very easy. Just no one wants to show up for you. That's a different story entirely. And we'll discuss that a bit more. But Ben, we got to check out some of these clips from after court today, where I swear it looked like Donald Trump was about to break down in tears if he was not already crying before he walked out. So what happened? What the heck was he saying when he got out of the courtroom today?
So in the previous portion of the episode, we talked about Robert Costello's testimony, Robert Costello's behavior, how Donald Trump's defense, if there even is one, is just completely unraveling what a bad move it was to call this Robert Costello. Jurors with their kind of hands over their face as Costello was just being so disrespectful to the courtroom. Jordy, you said it best. Everything, you're so right about that. Everything corporate media tried to say, this is how Cohen was, is such a smart point, is exactly how Robert Costello was. Which is always the case with the corporate media, how they do these types of things. Mm-hmm. So then Trump walks out, and here Trump pleads for someone. Just think about how pathetic this is. You have Donald Trump, who's leading the Republican Party, leading a hush money case, and he's pleading, someone, anybody, please help me, please help me. Just watch this. Play the clip.
This case should be dropped by the judge. I think the judge, if he did that, to gain the respect back, we have to, either the appellate court has to step in, something has to happen. Think of it, the Republican Party, one of the two great parties, nominate somebody to be their candidate, and that candidate now has been sitting here for almost 5 weeks in a freezing cold icebox, listening to this stuff, no crime.
By the way, he is sweating. He is like full-on flop sweat while he's like, I'm in the refrigerator, I'm in the icebox. He is sweating. I actually heard that the court was actually quite warm today too. So I guess he has his line now. He's like a wind-up doll now. He just says the same things every time he's in the courtroom, but sweating.
I hear the courtroom is warm. Like,
yeah, I heard it's warm today. Yeah,
it's a warm courtroom. It's not even. It's very if he truly feels cold, that's like a deeply concerning medical issue at this point. Because
seriously,
I'm being absolutely serious, because everybody there, and we have multiple sources in the courtroom, multiple reporters who are saying this. The courtroom is objectively warm. And the fact that he feels that that's an icebox and may be a serious.
Frankly, they likely warmed it up because of his complaints. Like, let's be real, because it was chilly early on, and now everybody says that it's actually quite warm in there. Yet he's still using the same lines while he has sweat dripping down his face. It's too bad he didn't have like a Rudy Giuliani moment of the dripping, but he's getting close there. That's for sure.
So then Donald Trump talks about how the prosecutors should be prosecuted. That's one of the things where, as he's, and just watch him though. I mean, I'm being serious. He looks like he's close to crying as he says the prosecutor should be prosecuted. Let me show you this.
Yeah, that's right. You can read that. I can't read it because I'm not allowed to say it. I see then legal commentator. The prosecutor misled this jury. So there is a case to be made, because 5 people have stated it very professionally that the prosecutor should be prosecuted. District Attorney Soros Bragg should be prosecuted because he knew when he submitted his case all about the lies. and therefore he's committed a crime. Many people have said that they should turn this around.
I mean, as he's reading, by the way, you know this because you watch our reporting. He has a lady who he pays over $100,000. He doesn't pay the political Mr. and Mrs. Magadonia, who contribute to the political action committee, pay this lady to follow him around with a portable printer. And she prints out articles that she thinks he'll find favorable. He then reads them. And then he like whines and looks like he's about to cry. I want to show you this, though, because I believe these next two clips are violations of the gag order. And notice, as he gets more and more desperate, this is what's things are going to get wild over the next 3 or 4 days because we're close to a verdict. The prosecution's rested. You've got Donald Trump's lawyer again moving for a directed verdict to try to get this case thrown out, which is going to be rejected. This case is going to be with the jury soon. Think about how desperate he's going to be as everybody awaits a verdict. But these next two clips seem like clear gag order violations.
Oh, yeah.
He's attacking witnesses and making statements about witnesses on the stand. The first one is Donald Trump attacking Michael Cohen. Let me show you this clip. Let's play it.
Have not made him plead guilty to larceny because you know what's taking place. I mean, you saw that. I won't even mention it because remember, I have a gag order. I'm not supposed to be talking about certain things. And so I'm being very careful, but you saw what happened. And this is CNN mentioning it, which it is, larceny, which it is. And you know what they're talking about because there was an admittance. The money I won't say that. It's the money so I won't say that. In fact, you're going to have to get this one because I can't read it. I've been gagged from reading this. But it's a vicious statement by a respected person at CNN the last 5 weeks, Andy McCarthy. To show he stole from the Trump organization, even as they're structuring a deal, blah, 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 and now I can't talk about it because, again, I have a gag order.
He's like a 4-year-old. Like, he's worse than like a petulant 4-year-old. I can't read it. I'm going to read it. I can't read it. I'm going to read it. Like, that's just a mentally unwell, and I don't want to make it a mental thing either because that lets it, that lets him off. No. Like, it is like that's just someone who is so disturbed. I can't read it. I got to read it. I can't read it. I got to read it. Michael Cohen Larson. I can't read it. I got to read it. Like, you're watching him do that. And by the way, the whole concept of it, though, doesn't help Donald Trump's case that Michael Cohen was honest and that he was he was talking about this deal that he made with this company called Red Finch to try to manipulate polls back in 2016. And Cohen, after Trump didn't give Cohen the bonus in 2016, Cohen ultimately told Donald Trump that this Red Finch deal was a $50,000 reimbursement when it was actually a $20,000 reimbursement. But the whole point is that it was a reimbursement. So Cohen reimbursed himself $30,000 extra dollars in 2016. But Donald Trump's whole point in this case was that he was not reimbursing Cohen. Trump's lawyers are saying that these were valid legal expenses that they were paying Michael Cohen, but also saying he went totally rogue. He acted the way he shouldn't, but we paid him legal expenses for going rogue. The whole thing was that they're still reimbursed. That doesn't help Donald Trump's case. And again, I believe a clear gag order violation right there by accusing a witness of larceny. So I'll be interested to see how and if that gets addressed. But the prosecution may just be like, look, let's deal with that issue on sentencing as a way to make sure that Donald Trump gets the high end of the sentencing guidelines. Here, Donald Trump talks about another witness on this, and again, another violation of the gag order. He talks about Robert Costello, who did horrible on the stand. Play this clip.
But the best there is, he can't testify, not being allowed to testify. And you saw what happened to a highly respected lawyer today, Bob Costello. Wow. I've never seen anything like that. Highly respected.
And then clear violation of the gag order. Like, it's not even close. And then Donald Trump just goes and takes the side of North Korea. Like, that's a normal thing to do, right? After standing there and whining and saying, someone please help me. The prosecutor should be prosecuted. Let me attack a witness. Now let me just talk about North Korea and take the side of Kim Jong-un over President Biden. Here, play this clip.
When they have North Korea is getting frisky, and I get along with him very well, but the current administration, they don't even know his name. We have a lot of things to solve.
And then can we talk about just for a moment, Brett, you referenced it, these hecklers who showed, I'm not saying that MeidasTouch had anything to do. I just want to be clear that just because people have Mighty signs and just because our editor-in-chief said that we are not going to let this propaganda happen by Donald Trump in front of the courtroom. No. I just want to be clear that
we don't have anything. We don't have anything to do with it. We don't, if you on your own volition wanted to go down to the courthouse and join the cacophony of counter or protesters around them, it's on you. It's on you. It's certainly nothing to do with us here at the MeidasTouch Network. Just being clear.
Yep.
Nothing to do. None of these noises. None of the whistling. None of the loud banging has anything to do with us.
Not at all.
So one of the things that Donald Trump does too is when these people show up for him, when he has his surrogate show up, these MAGA Republican Congress members and other MAGA leaders, Donald Trump dresses them up. And like, I'm not saying, he dresses them. He gives them clothes to wear and he makes them wear like long red ties so that they look like him. And, I saw some people call them the Red Tie Brigade. I have heard other people say, where do you get your outfits from? Dictators are us. And like, they show up dressed the same and then they go and they say
their MAGA pledge outfit.
Yeah, it's their MAGA pledge outfit. Today we had Alan Dershowitz. Remember last week, Donald Trump said, I don't even know Alan Dershowitz. He's not. And then I did a hot take on it. I'm like, he's your lawyer. Alan Dershowitz was your lawyer during the impeachment.
Bringing the Epstein crew back together, folks.
Yeah, just so we know, to be clear, Alan Dershowitz says that while he did get massages with Jeffrey Epstein, Dershowitz does say that he was wearing boxer shorts during the process, and Dershowitz does say he does not like massages. So I want to be very clear. He did get him with Jeffrey Epstein during the relevant time period, but in Dershowitz's statement, he didn't like it, and he was wearing boxer shorts the whole time during it. But anyway, let me show you some of the hecklers again, having nothing to do with MeidasTouch, who were out there.
Nothing to do with us.
As you had Dershowitz, you had Chuck Zito, a former leader of the Hells Angels motorcycle gang out there. You had Jason Miller, Kash Patel, MAGA Republican Andrew Clyde, and a bunch of others. This is what happened when they were trying to hold their press conference. Again, we had nothing to do with this clip.
Guilty! 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 It's not happening here today. I'll be followed by Cash Patel. Thank you, General. My name is Cash Patel. I'm here to tell you Michael Cohen
Again, look, I was too like I was too busy.
Got married. It was your birthday.
I was too busy planning a wedding. I would not have the time to ever help organize that at all. I'm just, it's not like there's a whole organization of other, like, I'm just saying there's no way.
I was flying back and forth too to Pitts. Yeah, no.
Yeah, we're way too busy, but
way too busy.
But great work. The funny
whoever did organize that,
whoever did that, great job.
Hat tip.
And the great thing about it too is that, like, Fox, normally they'd get these moments on C-SPAN or on Fox, and they had to cut away after 3 seconds because they were being drowned out by the protesters. So they didn't get any of the other statements and that they've been able to get every other time while they go out there. Like, I wonder if they're even going to keep trying it if this keeps up much.
I mean, all I know is if it keeps on happening, I will still have nothing to do with it at all. So here is Alina Habba, though, from earlier today. And, this is what we've been hearing her from a long time. This is what she continues to say. She's still going with this, by the way. I guess we'll find out officially tomorrow. But this is what Alina Habba, these people are just like the most ridiculous. Like they're the most ridiculous people in the world. Like that's one of the things. Just play the clip and then I'll show you what I mean. Let's play it.
As far as where this all goes next, what would be in the thought process to testify or not testify on the part of the former president?
Well, he's got to listen to his attorneys. It's not as much what he wants to do. We know he wants to testify. He is willing. He is able. He is nothing to hide at all. He's absolutely ready to tell the truth. Frankly, I think the truth is already spoken. He was in the White House while somebody in accounting booked a legal fee payment as a legal expense. It's pretty quick, and it would be a pretty short testimony as far as the questions that would need to be asked, because he had no part in this. The reality of the situation is that we have this judge, we have this court, and we have a DA who has been politically motivated.
And by the way, on so many levels, that's so dumb. I mean, saying that it's a legal fee booked as a legal expense, and then you're trying to undercut Cohen and say Cohen did something wrong when he sought reimbursement for something that he shouldn't. This is why corporate media needs to pay attention. So what you're saying, the legal fee was to reimburse Michael Cohen for the Red Finch payment as well as the Stormy Daniels payment. That's not a legal fee. It's called a reimbursement. And then when you call it a legal fee, guess what? It's a falsification of the record. Like it's really not a complicated concept. So that's that. Then separately, she goes on with this. He wants to testify. It's up to him. He's going to testify. It's, by the way, why I think that there's less than a 5% chance that he's going to ever debate. And we're going to talk a little bit about what Donald Trump's been saying. We talked about what his posts were before, where he started accepting debates that were not even on the table after he already agreed to debate President Biden on CNN and ABC. He's like, I am truthing that I am hereby accepting the debate from Fox. Well, guess what? They're your propaganda arm, okay? There's not going to be a debate there. So that's one of the ways he's going to back out. Now he's pushing the whole thing of, I'll debate, but we're going to have to drug test President Biden. You know, they do this all the time. Like, it's so predictable. It's so freaking obvious, their tactics. And then when the media falls for it, the corporate media, and we'll talk about it a little bit with this whole Wildwood, New Jersey thing being officially exposed before talking about these other rallies. When corporate media falls for it, it's like, you realize that this guy lies about everything. His whole team are the biggest liars, and they're not good liars. Like, they are really bad. Like, they are really bad, juvenile. Like, the tactics are like if a second grader's learning to lie, like again, no offense to second graders, but like bad second grade lies. It's like, yeah, and I am 25 feet tall. And then the Associated Press goes, Scotty's 25 feet tall. He said so. And it's like, okay, Scotty's not 25 feet tall. I'm looking at Scotty. I'm telling you.
And Ben,
I promise you, I super promise you. Trust me.
You're so right, because even look, they lie about things that they know they're going to get caught in as well. The $50 million fundraising night, yeah, after the reporting was due. That doesn't mean they don't have to report in future. What we found out from those stories is that those were quote unquote committed dollars. Those aren't dollars actually coming in to the campaign. So we're going to see very soon if that $50 million night actually happened next reporting period. They lie about things that they're going to get caught on because they know the corporate media will take them at their word and run the headlines and the spin for them.
It's always projection too, right? It's always, I know you are, but what am I? Sort of, you know, that to go back to Ben's kind of metaphor that it's like a second grader, and once again, no offense to second graders, but it's
contingency of the Midas Mighty audience, by the way, second grader. So I'm glad you guys are caveating, no offense to second graders.
Yeah. I want to make sure that this, you know, I never, when I compare Donald Trump to a second grader or a clown, I want to make sure that those communities are, know that it's not out of any malice. But we have I was just, it made me think about too, the clip we played before of Trump talking about North Korea. Trump forgot Kim Jong-un's name in the clip. And so he says, and Biden can't even remember his name, but I was just kind of putting it together. If we re-listen to that clip, Trump forgets the name. Trump calls him North Korea the way that Trump called Tim Cook Tim Apple. And then he still can't he still can't come up with the name. So then he says, and Biden probably can't even come up with the name. I'll just play. I know we're going backwards, but just listen to it again.
When they have North Korea is getting frisky, and I get along with him very well, but the current administration, they don't even know his name. We have a lot of things to solve.
And then you have his lawyer, Tom
Right?
Blanche, like they're like,
He has no idea his name. No idea.
What is Blanche doing in the back there? I mean, just the goofiest face and persona that this man has put on. I mean, worse than Haba in many respects. Unbelievable.
No, I
Yeah, he's really bad.
know. Let's take our last quick break of the show. I've got a lot to discuss, including the fact that Trump media just, they're a public company now, so they have to post their results. They lost more than $300 million last quarter alone, and their entire revenue for last quarter was $770,000. Let me just repeat that. They lost more than $300 million last quarter alone, and they generated $770,000 in revenue. We'll talk about that and more. Let's take our last quick break. Bond Charge, it's a holistic wellness brand with a huge range of evidence-based products to optimize your life in every way. Founded on science and inspired by nature, all Bond Charge products adopt ancestral ways of living in our modern-day world. Their extensive range of premium wellness products help you sleep better, perform better, have more energy, recover faster, balance hormones, reduce inflammation. The list is endless. From blue light glasses and infrared saunas to red light therapy to EMF management and circadian-friendly lighting, Bond Charge products help you naturally address the issues of our modern-day way of life effortlessly and with maximum impact. My new favorite product from Bond Charge is their red light face mask. I've been noticing some wrinkles and blemishes recently, but then I started to use the Bond Charge red light face mask, and I have to say, this is amazing. Red light therapy has been reviewed in over 4,000 peer-reviewed studies, with 400 plus being double-blind placebo trials. Not only do these studies have amazing health benefits, not one has shown any negative side effects. I use the red light face mask for 10 to 20 minutes each day. It's super lightweight on the face and it doesn't get so hot. I'm able to use it while watching TV or doing chores around the house. The 1-year warranty and sleek design and zero EMF radiation have me feeling great. It's nice and easy to use while watching TV, cooking a meal, putting the kids to bed, etc. Since using the red light face masks from Bond Charge, I have seen a notable difference in the fine lines and wrinkles on my face. I have a younger looking skin, less breakouts, and my skin is glowing. Bond Charge ships worldwide in rapid time and is trusted by leading health professionals worldwide. Their customer service is great with easy returns and exchanges. Plus, they have a 12-month warranty on all red light therapy devices. Bond Charge also has other amazing products such as low blue light bulbs, blue light glasses, EMF protection products, infrared sauna blankets, and 100% blackout sleep masks, all backed by science. Bond Charge products are all HSA, FSA eligible, giving you tax-free savings of up to 40%. So go to bondcharge.com and use our coupon code Meidas to save 15%. That's BONCHARGE.com and use coupon code Meidas, MEIDAS, to save 15%. Thanks, Bond Charge.
Did you know that traditional bed sheets can harbor more bacteria than a toilet seat? It could lead to acne, allergies, and stuffy noses, and it's just gross. Miracle Made offers a whole line of self-cleaning antibacterial bedding, such as sheets, pillowcases, and comforters that prevent up to 99.7% of bacteria growth and require up to 3 times less laundry. Using silver-infused fabrics inspired by NASA, Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long. So you get better sleep every night. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. Miracle Made sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands and feel as nice, if not nicer, than sheets used by some 5-star hotels. So stop sleeping on bacteria. Bacteria could clog your pores, causing breakouts and acne. Sleep clean with Miracle. Go to trymiracle.com/Meidas to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code Meidas at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/Meidas and use the code Meidas, that's MEIDAS, to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/Meidas to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode.
Shout out to the Bro Democracy sponsors, y'all. Let's go. Ben, that bomb charge, it's doing wonders for you, man. You just turned 39. Also, the big birthday, looking great. That red light face mask, have to love that.
39.
Miracle sheets, amazing. I don't think I'm giving away any trade secrets there, Ben, by stating your age. I think you're a pretty Googleable man these days. So I hope you're okay with me putting that out blast right there. But yeah,
how old
the red light
I was?
39.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, well, I know because I know by LeBron James, because I know you guys are the same age. That's how I keep track of your age, is I just know LeBron's age in my head. That's true. And then Miracle Made Sheets, been a partner for a while. Y'all check them out. They have some fantastic products there. Those sheets are incredible. Links in the description. Use the promo codes. I appreciate it. Helps the show, helps you guys. Let's do it.
Jordy didn't know before we took that break that I was going to talk about Trump Media's $300 million loss. And throughout the break, Jordy was writing text messages to me like, whoa, like 300, like where's their office? What are they doing right there?
Exactly. Well, because I really was behind the scenes asking Ben more about this, because the article is a little confusing. They brought in that 770,000 as just revenue, but the loss was $330 million. And I just keep thinking to myself, there was videos and photos shown not too long ago of literally an abandoned headquarters for True Social, like boiler room when they go to the other office and just completely empty. It's like, where's the money going? They don't.
I want to dig in. I want to dig in deeper. I need to see the expenditures.
They don't have office. They don't have like space. Where's the money going? How are they losing $330 million?
In the quarter.
In the quarter. Yeah. In the quarter.
That's
where is it going?
That's a quarterly number right there, right? Because when we took a look at last year's financials, we were talking about, I forget if it was somewhere like 4 million in total revenue on like a $58 million loss. It was something like that, last year. So now if their burn rate is like 300 million in a loss, and then look, normally when you're talking about these tech companies that have these inflated valuations, right? They may have a significant loss, like billions of dollars in losses, right? But their revenue is billions of dollars. Like the revenue is high. So when someone is giving it a valuation, what they're saying is, look, a lot of tech companies lose money. So let's not focus on the loss. Let's focus on a multiple of revenue, right? You know, there's ways to value companies that are a multiple of what's called EBITDA, earnings before interest, depreciation, taxes, and amortization. And that to me is a better way when I would do valuations of companies. But if you want to say a high risk, high reward company, take it as a multiple of revenue, right? And let's just say Trump Media does, let's just say $1 million every single quarter from here on out, which I'm giving them more money than they did last quarter. And I'm ignoring their losses, which I absolutely shouldn't. So let's say once again, they post $4 million in revenue. And we were going to give them what? A 5 to 7 times multiple on $4 million in revenue. The company would be actually valued at about $20 million. Then if you did the math and you have 200 million shares outstanding, right? Stock certificates, shares outstanding on a company that's valued at $20 million, you can see why, in my opinion, that should be treated like a penny stock. Because each share, how is each share worth, that values this company in billions of dollars, when I just went through the valuation of why I think it's valued at no more than 20, and I think that's a stretch. Anyway, the one thing I want to show also, though, is this one clip as Donald Trump entered the courtroom earlier, which was yet another admission of the crime, where he goes, "We booked what Cohen did as a legal expense." And this is Trump. We did.
Listen closely to these words at the end of the clip. It's at the very end. Listen very closely to this admission.
They go through all this stuff, and there was nothing done wrong. NDAs are perfect. And by the way, legal expenses, we paid a legal expense. You know what it's marked down in the book says? A legal expense. Again, it's not marked down as construction. It's not marked down as sheetrock and cinder block. It's marked down as legal expense. You have a lawyer. You pay him a legal expense, and it's covered in the book as legal expense. I had nothing to do with it. The bookkeeper put it down as a legal expense. This is why I'm here, because we called it a legal expense, a payment to a...
That's why we're here, because we called it a legal expense. And they keep going with that, but all of the evidence is it's a reimbursement to someone who made a hush money payment. Again, it's not a complicated thing. It's not like I heard his lawyers saying, this was a legal expense. We marked it down as a legal expense. That's not what they said. The lawyers had to say in their opening, this never happened. None of this happened. That what the lawyer said in the opening, what Blanche said, these were legitimate payments or services that were legitimately rendered by Michael Cohen as Donald Trump's lawyer. And they haven't showed what those services are. Like, you would think during the cross-examination, that's where you would focus on. If that was your theme, right? You would go through all of the tasks. And if you wanted to, it's too late for them to do this now because Cohen's off. If you wanted to create doubt, I would look at Cohen's timesheets, right? That's where my cross would focus on, if that's what you're going with, and saying, did you ever underbill for your hours, right? Did you ever give Donald Trump discounts? There were times, Cohen, where you didn't bill for all of the money you should have billed for, right? Like, there were times where you left things. And so wouldn't it be legitimate for it, not outside the realm, for them to believe that this was, part of the money that, you billed them and other retainers? Why wouldn't they? They didn't do any of that. They just went, you lie. And it's so disjointed because every other witness went in and corroborated all the text messages, the checks. Why are you writing checks to him for this? Anyway, you get that. Let me just, I got to touch on what went down, though, in these Trump speeches at this NRA event, which he showed up 2 hours late for, and then in Minnesota. And I got to compare it to what went down to President Biden's speech in Morehouse. But I don't know if you know this, Brett, but over 1 million people attended President Biden's Morehouse speech. Did you know that?
Yeah, no, I heard. Yeah, I heard over 1 million. Yeah, for sure.
I think that it may even be like approaching, I don't know, what's the population of Georgia? It's about 500,000 in Atlanta. How many people live in Georgia? That's how I think I'm going to evaluate it.
Oh, yeah,
10.91 million. I think there was about 10 million people who attended the speech. 500,000 were there. I'm going to go and round up 10 million. Look, now what we learned is exactly what we said here on the MeidasTouch Network. Go back, and we said, there's no way there was more than 10,000 people at that event. And it didn't take at Trump's Wildwood, New Jersey event from 2 weeks ago. Yeah, Wildwood, New Jersey event, where Trump said there was 80,000 to 100,000 people. How do we know that? I don't know, a basic analysis of the data right there. Shout out to this account right here, this little historian account. They did the work, but that whole area only holds 20,000 people. So,
and they announced it beforehand. They said the capacity for the rally is 20,000. So when you as a journalist, when you as a reporter gets told that 100,000 people were at a space that only holds a max capacity of 20,000. Your job is not to just go, oh, 100,000. Oh, let me let's write an article about 100,000 people. Like a lot of very legitimate publications, like the Associated Press, like ABC News, wrote 100,000 people show up to Donald Trump. Well, the capacity was 20K. The capacity was 20K. So the alarm bell should be sounding instantly. First, you should never believe anything they say to start, but doubly so when you know that it only fits 20K. So, what is it now? A week later, a week and a half later, 2 weeks later, what happens? It comes out that the whole thing was a scam. And I want to remind everybody that about this Wildwood mayor, right? This Wildwood mayor, Triano, he is a surprise. He was indicted last year for defrauding taxpayers via health insurance fraud. This guy is, as MAGA as it gets. And he's the guy who invited Trump there. And he said, call it the Trump boom. Wildwood, New Jersey Mayor Ernie Triano Jr. tells Dagan and Sean about how Trump's rally is set to be a big boost for business in the city. And so finally, after our relentless pushing going, that was not even close to 100,000, not even close to 80,000, not even close to 50,000, not even close to 20,000. Finally, there was some digging and prodding, and that city official, the spokesperson for the mayor for the city, I think her name is Lisa Fagan, who is, by the way, the initial person who said that it only fit 20,000, then later parroted Trump's lies. She was pressed on it further. Really? 80 to 100,000? Real? Seriously? Because that doesn't quite seem right. And guess what? It didn't pass the smell test because it was not accurate. Here is what they were claiming. This is how she said that she got to that 80,000 number. She said she got the 80,000 number. It wasn't the people at the rally. This report says that she admits now. This is an admission from the same spokesperson, but rather it was the number of people in our town. Yes, that's right. She counted the entire population at that time, all of the people in Wildwood, New Jersey during that day. Her estimate from her head of how many people were possibly at the bars, in restaurants, at their homes, in other parks, at this event. And she said, hey, 80,000 people at the Trump rally. That is called propaganda. That is called lying. When pressed on it further, she said, for the actual rally number, we defer, this is a quote, we defer to the Trump campaign for the exact count on the beach. I mean, how ridiculous is that? So they were going off what people like that Benny Johnson guy and RSBN and Jason Miller were touting their obvious lies about the event. That's what they were putting forward as their official statement. And they're now admitting that the 80,000 to 100,000 number was in fact the entire, how many people were in the town completely on a nice day in a beach town in Wildwood, New Jersey. And who knows if it was even that much, but judging by what they said the averages were on a weekend, which I think they said were like 200 to 250,000 people who come to town over these weekends during this time of year, doesn't even seem like it was any more than normal. We're even there. And this is another giveaway right here from the mayor. Ready for this quote? As a tourist town, we speak in tourism numbers. So you're just lying. Okay. Okay. You made the whole
numbers.
Tourism numbers. We made it up to try to sound good. I made it up to try to make Trump happy. I made it up to try to make the city look exciting. So you lied. You lied.
And the weird thing was too, BNB, I just went on Snoopy's and I didn't see a fact checking article about this on Snoopy's. So I just put it out there
on Snopes.
Oh, sorry. That's right. Yeah.
Here's the import of it. By the way, we said right when it happened, we said, look, this is a MAGA mayor. And we said, look what's happening. Once I saw those numbers that were coming from Jason Miller and Trump's people saying 80,000 to 100,000, then the numbers changed to 20,000 capacity to 80,000 to 100,000 being reported. I said the MAGA mayor got it from the MAGA people. It's so obvious what went down. That's exactly what happened. And we called it out in real time, collectively, us and the Meidas Mighty, using common sense here. But here's the important thing too, why this really matters though, is because Trump's campaign is running on strong man versus weak man paradigm. And what they want to do is talk about crowd sizes and polls over and over again and create this self-fulfilling kind of feedback loop of power, and then try to compare that to weakness. Big crowds, big polls, ignore the truth, ignore the polls that aren't good. And by the way, the average of polls have President Biden winning. I don't like talking about polls, but I want to explain the strong man, weak man paradigm, and then lie about crowd size. Big crowds, big polls, push that. Why? Because when Trump actually talks about things, he doesn't actually know what he's even saying. It's incoherent. It's rambling. He talks about like I have a better body than Barack Obama. Ho, ho, ho. I'd rather be electrocuted than eaten by sharks. Ho, ho, ho. The J6ers are hostages. They are great. Ho, ho, ho. That's what he says over and over again. Then when he tries to get in some coherent ideas, he brags about overturning Roe. So they don't want to talk about the issues. They want to talk about strong man, weak man, and they use the media as a complicit aider and abetter in pushing that. They've got propaganda media, and then when you have the AP and places like ABC that push that out, it's more than just an exaggeration. That's why it's their entire campaign strategy. Strong man, weak man. Don't talk about the ideas. Anytime ideas start to be talked about, both sides it, flush that out, push strong man, weak man. The whole game plan right there. That's why this stuff really matters. And it's important why we show you like what went down right here. Like this is Trump's NRA event that he went to over the weekend. The fact that he's speaking at an NRA convention in and of itself in Dallas should send an important message where the majority of Americans want common sense gun reform. And the NRA brags about having weapons of war by schools. And they go and they do their conventions at locations often near school shootings. Okay. Here's Donald Trump at this event bragging that he's in better shape than former President Obama. This is like what he talks about at his speeches here. Play this clip.
Doctor, very talented doctor too. You know, he's got a lot of things on his resume. He was a great doctor. He was a great admiral. And now he's a great congressman. And before I introduce him, I just want to say, when he was the doctor at the White House, they asked him, who's healthier? Who's a better physical specimen? Is it Trump or is it Obama? And he said, it's not even close. It's Donald Trump, not even close. I said, I love this guy. Dr. Ronnie Jackson, your congressman, great congressman from Texas.
Then he says that he won 31 club championships. The day before, by the way, he said he won 29 golf championships. And as you know, he holds the golf tournaments at his own properties and then awards himself championships to himself. But here he is saying that he won 31 championships. Let's play this.
But he said 6.2, you know, so usually a guy's a 6 or 7 or an 8. I played golf for a long time. I won a lot of golf. 31 club championships, can you believe it? And he challenged me to a golf match. He said, I'll give him 3 aside. The guy can't break 200.
To be fair, that was probably why he was 2 hours late. Had to fit in those extra, 2 club championships.
Then Trump whines about RFK Jr. while swatting at flies around him. Play this clip.
And all of New England, actually, he's a disaster. He's radical left. RFK Jr. is radical left. It reminds me of this fly that's driving me crazy up here. This fly is brutal. I don't like flies.
He then plays QAnon music, and this is what he does at all of his speeches, and then praises the January 6th insurrectionists while playing QAnon songs. Play this clip.
But when people who love our country protest on January 6th in Washington, they become hostages, unfairly imprisoned for long periods of time.
Okay, and then just so you know that it's like, oh, Ben, this must be one speech, but this is not happening all the time. Well, if you watch our network, you know this is every speech. But let's just go a day or two before when he spoke in Minnesota. And this is, he almost falls down and then yells at the podium. Play this clip.
But Americans are not struggling. You know, this is the worst platform.
Who put this stage up here? This is the frickin' place is falling down.
He, by the way, that happens frequently in a lot of speeches. Then he yells at the contractors for not making good podiums or not making good teleprompters. Let's play this clip.
How about that? Before I got up, the teleprompter fell down. That's great. Great going, fellas, back there. Then they want to know why I didn't pay the bill. You know, I get a lot of heat. I got a teleprompter that's gone. This one's almost gone. But
He then tells that story about a woman who lifts weights where he makes this grunting noise, which is when Michael Cohen back in December, he does this at all of his speeches. So at one of them in December, Cohen's like, that's why we call him Von Schitzenpants. That's when Cohen coined it. But he tells this story at all of his events. Play this clip.
Mom, I don't know, Mom. This is a heavy sucker. Oh, Mom, I can't do it. Boom.
That's why I said it's just not, it's like a bad, just a bad loser. It's so humiliating. And now he starting his excuses about why he's not going to debate President Biden. He says he's going to demand a drug test of President Biden. I just want to be clear. Okay. This person beat me in a debate. What an incredible debater. They must be on performance enhancing drugs. Has said absolutely nobody. Okay. Like that's not a thing. You must be on. You're such a great debater. Are you on performance enhancing drugs? But this is the MAGA narrative, and Trump's going to say, "I can't debate because he's not giving me the drug test that he didn't agree to do." It's so they're so predictably losers. I wish they were a little bit more intelligent about it, so I could at least have something where I go, "Oh, that was a good one." Like they're just the worst, and they're dumb, and it's idiotic. And that's like the madness of it. The madness for me is that corporate media treats this like, okay, this is a normal thing. And I'm like, what are we talking about? This is crazy. Here, like, don't you realize what this is? Like, report it. Here, play this clip of him demanding the drug test. Play it.
No, I have fake Tapper as they said, I just want to debate this guy, but and I'm gonna demand a drug test too, by the way. I am. No, I really am. I don't want him coming in like the State of the Union. He was high as a kite. I said, is that Joe up there? A beautiful robe? And by the end of the evening, he's like, well, it was exhausted, right? Now we're going to demand a drug test. But
remember what I said, strong man, weak man paradigm. And in MAGA world, everything is the opposite. I see a very weak man there in Donald Trump. That's weak. That's a loser. But push out big numbers, push out the lie, right? Push out that there's 100,000 people, push out that these things reflect strength and that there are issues being discussed when there isn't. Then call President Biden exactly what Donald Trump is doing. Jordy, your point earlier in the show, say that Cohen's going to act exactly like Robert Costello acts, and then hope that people just rely on the narrative and not the facts, because you saw that was what Donald Trump was doing over the weekend. Here's President Biden giving a speech in Morehouse in front of a crowd of 50 million people. 50 million. I'm just joking. This is a commencement speech, but watch him in Morehouse.
Our family became my redemption. Many of you have gone through similar or worse and even worse things, but you lean on others. They lean on you, and together you keep the faith in a better day tomorrow. But it's not easy. I know 4 years ago, as some of your speakers have already mentioned, it felt like one of those Saturdays. The pandemic robbed you of so much. Some of you lost loved ones, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, who aren't able to be here to celebrate with you today. You missed your high school graduation. You started college just as George Floyd was murdered, and there was a reckoning on race. It's natural to wonder if democracy you hear about actually works for you. What is democracy? If black men are being killed in the street, what is democracy? The trail of broken promises still leave black communities behind. What is democracy? You have to be 10 times better than anyone else to get a fair shot. And most of all, What does it mean, as we've heard before, to be a black man who loves his country, even if it doesn't love him back in equal measure? Faith asks you to hold on to hope, to move heaven and earth, to make better days. Well, that's my commitment to you, to show you democracy, democracy, democracy is still the way. If black men are being killed in the street, we bear witness. For me, that means to call out the poison of white supremacy, to root out systemic racism.
And then President Biden talks about how in Georgia, like in many other states across the country, they're trying to take away your right to vote. They're trying to take away democracy. I thought this was another powerful moment where President Biden says, today in Georgia, they won't allow water to be available to you while you wait in line. I'll let President Biden take it from there. Let's play the clip.
Well, let's be clear. What happens to you and your family when old ghosts in new garments seize power? Extremists come for the freedoms you thought belonged to you and everyone. Today in Georgia, they won't allow water to be available to you while you wait in line to vote in an election. What in the hell is that all about? I'm serious. Think about it. And then the constant attacks on black election workers who count your vote. Insurrectionists who storm the Capitol with Confederate flags are called patriots by some. Not in my house. Black police officers, black veterans protecting the Capitol were called another word, as you'll recall. They also say out loud, these other groups, immigrants poison the blood of our country, like the grand wizard and fascists said in the past. But you know and I know, we all bleed the same color. In America, we're all created equal. Extremists close the doors of opportunity, strike down affirmative action, attack the values of diversity, equality, and inclusion. I never thought when I was graduating in 1968, as your honoree just was, we talked about, I never thought I'd be a president at a time when there's a national effort to ban books, not to write history, but to erase history. They don't see you in the future of America, but they're wrong. To me, we make history, not erase it. We know black history is American history. Many of you graduates don't know me, but check my record. You know what I'm saying. I mean from my gut.
And that's why the strong man, weak man paradigm is what Trump and his campaign push, because the strong man or the strong person or the strong one is actually President Biden. And it's not me, oh, Biden. Just watch it for yourself. You saw Donald Trump's speech. Oh, my God, I don't like flies. I don't like flies. You know, just weird, deranged, unhinged stuff, and compare it with President Biden. I don't even need to share them. I'll leave it with you. I'll let it end that way, this episode, and you could judge for yourself. And you can share this with people, and let's see what they have to say about that. Let's just get out the facts. Let's get out the truth and nothing but the truth. I want to thank everybody for watching this episode. On the after show Patreon, it'll just be Brett and Jordy talking about my wedding. And I want them to give their perspective. I give you guys freedom to talk about it. Not that I need to give it to you. I'm sure you'll say whatever you're going to say anyway. Talk about whatever you want to talk about the wedding. And then on Thursday, I'll give my perspective of the wedding and the wedding week. I got to get back to my mini moon. Right
Enjoy.
Now.
Take some time
mini
off.
moon, take some time. We love you, big bro.
Thanks, everybody. We appreciate you. And thank you so much again, Meidas Mighty. Your words of support and your well wishes and your congratulations really meant the world to us. And we even kept a seat for you, an honorary seat for you at the wedding. And, we've been sharing pictures of it as well. So again, thank you all so much. We appreciate it. Jordy, take it away.
Shout out to the Meidas Mighty!
The Meidas Mighty standing strong against the fascists. We sing our song. We will get it right whenever.
It's Ken Harbaugh with the MeidasTouch Network. The film Against All Enemies, which I co-produced with Ben Meiselas and this network, has won awards around the world for its up-close portrayal of America's insurrectionist movement. It premieres in the U.S. on March 29th on Amazon and Apple TV. Go to againstallenemiesfilm.com or click the link below. But don't just watch Against All Enemies. Tell your friends about it. It's one more way to hold accountable those who threaten our democracy. Thanks, Meidas Mighty. Let's use our power well.